Hold on. Oh, there we go. All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business. Looking forward to talking to Elan Amir. Elan, it's great to connect with you. You're the CEO at MeasureOne. And what your company does, let me give a quick review. You're an extensive general management, product and technology leadership experience. It spans just a wide variety range of IT and financial technology disciplines. And then to put it in kind of layman's terms, you guys are basically the best way to use consumer permission data for verification and credit decisioning. And so kind of what does that mean to the person who's listening?
Yeah. So first, it's good to be with you, John.
Yeah, thanks so much.
MeasureOne enables consumers to share data that is in their user accounts with businesses that are offering products and services. So most of us have been familiar maybe with connecting our bank account to various products and services. Maybe if you're receiving, if you connected it through PayPal or connected it through Venmo. And so what MeasureOne enables you to do is connect other types of accounts, not just bank accounts. So for example, insurance data or employment data or payroll data or any other information that is in your account that you want to share as part of a mortgage process, lending process, maybe an employment offer, maybe an application for education, a college application or a post-college application. So all this information that consumers have that is now all online is there for them and companies that are offering products and services to those consumers.
Yeah.
When they see that data, would like to get access to it and provide them those products and services. So we provide the bridge between the data and the businesses.
Yeah, I love that. Let me ask you a question. Something I hear from people, I feel the same way sometimes, is when I connect it, it seems easy. But when I want to disconnect it, I can't figure out how. Right. And so how do people, because I would think that's a fear, like I'll connect it, but then my information they may think is out there. So I want to talk about security and I want to talk about disconnecting.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm glad you raised that because the P in consumer permission data is often kind of just thrown in there, consumer permission data, but it's the P that is at the heart of it. This is consumer permissioned.
Yeah.
We have up until kind of consumer permission data really lived in a world where you had companies selling consumer data and aggregating it, selling it without the consumer being in the middle of that transaction, without the consumer knowing what was being shared, authorizing it, controlling it, and in particular, being able to disable and have any control over it. So consumer permission data really turns it on its head. It says there is no data being shared unless you permission it. And at the heart of the workflow that we provide as the middleman between the data and the business is the permissioning and consent of the user to do what we're about to do and providing them visibility into what they're about to do.
Yeah.
As part of that, there is also a process that enables the consumer to tell us to not share their data after the fact. So if they want to if we're sharing it just on a one-time basis, that's part of the consent. If we're sharing it on a continuous basis, that's part of the consent. If later on, for whatever reason, the consumer decides, hey, I don't want to continue this, they through us will contact us and we will disconnect that connection. And at that point, there's no more sharing.
Yeah. Got it. I just wanted to tap into a little bit more about the security element, mostly also because, prior to this, you served for about 9 years as the president and CEO of Vivio Networks, which is a cybersecurity solution, right? So just talk about the security of, just giving all of my, just giving my access. I think there's still fear of that, especially as we hear about, all of these things, that what's the word I'm looking for?
Breaches.
Correct. Breaches of information. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So obviously this is consumer data. And so we, there is a responsibility on behalf of us, and frankly, any other party that is dealing with any data, in particular consumer data, to take the most conservative and state of the art security measures to protect it.
Yeah.
We certainly do that. As you correctly mentioned, I do have a background as part of my career in being in cybersecurity, so I know it both as a consumer of cybersecurity equipment and also as being part of the industry. And we safeguard all of the data to the maximum extent. We have gotten a third-party audit that has given us a SOC 2 certification, and so this is an ongoing thing. We have we are constantly monitoring. We're using, like I said, all the state-of-the-art systems to safeguard it and take it very, very seriously. Obviously, the technical details are probably not the topic of a podcast,
right?
Right. But clearly,
you're doing it again. Right. Yeah. Gives people a little bit of a flavor.
Of course.
Let's talk about this a little bit. You are in an industry that is very innovative. It is where the world is. It's where the world is going. Talk to, the 20 somethings right now who are in college, who are, trying to figure out even what to major in to get into fields like this, because I don't know if they're fully teaching this type of stuff right now. In a way they are. But what should that millennial Gen Z generation be thinking right now when it comes to what they're studying to leave school, knowing that this is where the world is going? A pre-COVID study suggested that by the year 2030, 85% of the jobs that existed in 2020 will not exist in 2030. So you're kind of at the, ahead of the curve here. So what should the younger generations be doing?
Yeah. So obviously a long topic about education. First, I would say, just given the fact that I spent 9 years in school getting a PhD, I am a big believer in certainly study something that also enriches you, not just for the purpose of getting a job. But I think that it is a valid question also from the perspective of studying what towards a career or towards a job, what they should study. I would also say that not to get too hung up on what you study as an undergraduate in terms of your entire career, because as we all know, life and your career takes many turns. That being said, at the heart of certainly the technology and tech industry are several themes. One is obviously engineering and quantitative studies, computer science obviously being at the core of it. Certainly drives you into this space. Any type of quantitative, we're all dealing with data now. We are in the age of data. So any type of math or quantitative, any touching of quantitative math, statistics, and quantitative sciences, certainly, no matter where they come from. You could be a biology major, you could be a history major, but as long as you are touching quantitative data and know how to read quantitative data and deal with quantitative data, you will be well suited for what is going on right now in the industry. And finally,
I just want to point out real quickly, I think you said quantitative 20 times, which I love, because I talk a lot about, as a business coach, I talk about how you need to quantify everything. So I just want to add one thing into that, not to break your conversation up, but even if you're thinking about going into sales, right? And so everything, you want to be able to quantify and look at anything and everything, how you can quantify everything to everybody, because everybody is thinking in this data mindset, and the delayed gratification of people is dwindling, and people need instant gratification. And that's one of the best ways, is to take data and quantify it to what it means to them right now in real time in this moment. So I just kind of want to highlight that, because I find myself sometimes saying quantify, quantitative. So I'm listening to you say it. It makes me laugh, because I do the same thing. But it's really, really important, no matter what you major in, what you study, that you're able to apply it and quantify it to whomever you're talking to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's a way of life too, right? I mean, I think one of my favorite quotes, and frankly, I would say ways of life, both in business and in general, I think was attributed to Jim Clark. I don't know it firsthand it was, but is, if you come into a meeting and you don't have the facts, we'll use my opinion, right? And it's a great one, right? It's like, you have to have the facts, right? Or, fine, we'll use, my opinion because I'm the boss, but that's not the right way to make decisions. It's not the right way to look at things. And I think that being able to develop a discipline of quantification, fact-based decision-making just puts you in the right spot for, frankly, anything in life, but in particular, obviously, in technology.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Going back to don't get hung up on, what you major versus what you do. I'm a big believer that success is not a straight line. Here I am, I'm 50. I'm a business coach. I started my business a little over 7 years ago, but I started in the internet business, sold that company, got into commercial real estate, then started a coaching company. And so I just summarized that in 30 seconds, summarize your path a little bit in less than a minute. Because I believe 100% in what you said. You just got to follow your gut, listen to the universe, and just kind of, guide as you walk through it.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree with you more. I've been many times in my career when asked this question, I give the same answer, which is in hindsight, it looks like a straight line. Going forward, it's only a random walk.
Correct.
And
yeah.
So
you got some good one-liners. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So so my career, I started out on the technical side, obviously did graduate studies in computer science and, love engineering. That's kind of my, I would say my initial brain bent. And then spent the first third of my career doing technology management, and then had the opportunity, as you mentioned, at Vivio to take over on the general management side. Did that for 9 years, then had the opportunity to join a bunch of people that I knew in building up what at the time was a very nascent fintech industry back in 2013, and went back a little bit to the product side and technology side of the house, and then with MeasureOne and back running a data company, which always has been a passion of mine. It really is, I would say in terms of the only conscious decision that I've made through my career, which I certainly would advise, is be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, and where you have a choice, play to your strengths. I kind of early on recognized that I had a good technical background, but I also had good communication skills. I have weaknesses, but but I also recognize I have good communication skills. And I said, let me see if I can use these communication skills. Let me see if I can use that aspect of it in addition to my technology training. And that led me somewhat to the general management and product facet. So everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses. And in your career, if you recognize what your strengths are and play to them, you're probably going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, I agree. I as just a person, but as a business coach, I never focus on people's weaknesses. I mean, you can hire that out, or you find the who can do that for you. But focusing on your strengths, it's I echo that. All right, quick speed round. You ready, Elan?
Yeah.
All right. A book that's had the biggest impact for you.
Sorry, well, you broke up.
A book that's had the biggest impact for you.
Biggest impact. I mean, Thinking Fast and Slow of Danny Kahneman is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah, that's a great book. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received.
Never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems.
That's good. That's a good one. Finish this sentence. One thing I've learned that I can share with every entrepreneur is?
Aside from the previous line, I would say when you're hiring people, empower them to do their job rather than trying to do their job for them.
Great. Last question. The biggest lesson I ever learned was?
biggest lesson I ever learned was, I would say, that, gain satisfaction from other people's success, and rather than trying to take it to yourself.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Tell everybody who your ideal clients are, where they can connect with you, and all your contact information.
Yeah, so our ideal clients are any type of business that is looking for access to consumer data. These are financial institutions. These are employers or background screening companies. These are marketeers. And these are potentially educational institutions. We can provide access to your consumers' data within funnel. You can engage with your consumers. You can enable your consumers to share their data with you to complete your transactions. Our contact info is certainly, our website is MeasureOne.com, and my email is Elan@MeasureOne.com. You can contact me directly, or if you feel like just going through the quote unquote front door, you can send an email to sales@MeasureOne.com, but you're welcome to contact me directly.
I love it. Elan, I appreciate this conversation. Think Community, I just want to highlight a couple things that Elan was talking about, which is success is never a straight line, and quantify everything. As anyone who owns a business, is part of a business, wants to start a business, wants to start a side business, I think those are two really great things to always remember. Business planning, which we talk a lot about on this show, is really, really important. But having a living business plan that you're looking at every day to make sure that you're on track, and because business isn't a straight line, and you got to pivot and you got to adapt, as we've seen these last couple of years through lockdown to where we are today. And then just keep on quantifying, because every business, you got to make money and be able to quantify so people can hear and then buy your product and or service. Elan, I appreciate you taking time to be on the show today. MeasureOne.com, Elan@MeasureOne.com, as well as for his email. I'll let you close. One last thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously this is great, and thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't kind of once more, say something about MeasureOne, which was, we certainly view this as the natural way in which consumers can share data. Today, it's education, employment, income, insurance, and then we're obviously adding new data domains. So please, if you have needs for consumer data, please contact us. And
right.
Jon, this was a great opportunity, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was great. All right. We'll have you on again, Elan. Think Community, thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.